Okay, you rates, welcome to the demo of your prac. Here you see what will be either on your desk or around your room that you can gather. We are chemically weathering some rocks today. So how do we do it? Well, firstly, we need to be safe. So safety glasses on at all times. 2, if you either have hair in front of your face, you need to pull that back. And if you have a tie or anything hanging down like this, then we're going to just remove that or just tuck that away. We don't need lab coats for this, but just make sure you don't get any of these chemicals on your clothing. If you do happen to get any of these acids, any chemicals on your skin, then you go straight away and just wash them off. These are not highly concentrated acids, these are low concentration of acids, so all you need to do if you get a little bit on your skin is just go and wash them off under water for about 10 seconds and then dry your hands, and then you are ready to continue. Again, put your hand up for Mr. Rose and myself if there's any concerns with that. If you have sensitive skin, really sensitive skin, then you might need some gloves. They will be available, but for the majority of people will not need that. All right, let's go. Let's weather some rocks. So where are my rocks? Well, here are the rocks we're going to use today. This is calcium carbonate or marble chips, calcium carbonate. So firstly, we need 9 rocks. So I'm going to choose 9 rocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, but all about the same size. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, I'm going to keep everything nice and consistent, nice and logical to keep an order of things so I know what's occurring. So, I've gotten a paper towel and I've written with permanent marker 1 to 9 on that piece of paper. And I'm going to place my rocks, 9 of those, just on here, so that I'm naming them and labeling them. So now what we want to do to weather these rocks, we're going to simulate acid rain. And we've got 3 acid rains today. One that you're going to make up, and it's an acid rain called carbonic acid. And I'll show you how to make that. And then we've got quite a sizable, considerably concentrated type of acid rain, which is 0.5 molar sulfuric acid, and then we've got 1 molar sulfuric acid. So this one here is twice as concentrated in terms of the molarity of the concentration compared to this one. This will be quite weak because we're going to make it ourselves, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. When you weather things, you remove some of the rock. You break it down, and we're going to chemically break it down today. So in order to measure how much that gets broken down, we're going to use our scales over here, measure each of our 9 rocks first, then go and weather them chemically using acid, and then we're going to dry them off and then re-weigh them, and then we get a mass before weathering and a mass after weathering. The difference in the mass from before and after will tell us how much weathering has occurred. And you can probably put that into a percentage or a difference, or -1 from the other, a difference that's occurred in terms of grams, or maybe even a percentage difference. By finding the difference that you get, calculating that, and then dividing that by the original mass and timesing it by 100 to get a percentage. But really the main thing is getting that difference, the change that's occurring. Hopefully it's gone down. So let's measure a couple. I'm only going to simulate this, but you do all of your 9 rocks. So number 1, onto the digital scales. Over here, I'm going to write everything down so I can keep track of it. So I write number 1 is that many grams. Number 2, that many grams. 2, that many grams. And number 3, that many grams. Now let's assume that you did all 9, which is what you have to do. So I've gone now through all 9 and I've written them all down. Now we want to chemically weather these things. So I've got 9 test tubes here, And I've labelled them with a permanent marker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I've just written with permanent marker that number on these test tubes. Now we want to add in our acids. But first we have to make our carbonic acid. So what you do need to do to make this weak acid, carbonic acid is made with water and carbon dioxide bubbled through. And you're going to provide that carbon dioxide by doing this. You take this carbonic acid and you fill it up about two-thirds full of water just from the tap. Straw. You're going to go over to the tap over here and you're going to just slowly bubble through your breath into that water for about 20 to 30 seconds. So assume that now you've bubbled, you've made bubbles in that water via that straw into that water. Now you've put carbon dioxide in with the water and you've made a small amount of carbonic acid in that water. Hardly any, but there's a little bit in there. So now we're ready to go. We've got our 3 acid solutions. If this happens to kind of, when you're bubbling it, by blowing through it, if it happens to bubble over, that's okay. Just give it a wipe off before you bring it back over. So now we want to fill these up with our 3 different ones. So we're going to have 3 test tubes full of that, 3 test tubes full of that one, and 3 test tubes full of that one. You're going to put 10 mils using a measuring cylinder. We're going to put 10 mils of each of our acids into here. So 10 mils of carbonic, 10 mils of carbonic, 10 mils of carbonic in the first 3. Same thing here, 10 mils of that, 10 mils there, 10 mils there of this second sulfuric, 0.5, and the one, 10 mils, 10 mils, 10 mils. I will, for just demonstration, just do the first 3. So upside down, up to 10 mils, and into the first test tube. Open this up, straight up, upside down, and 10 mils. And third, 10 mils. And now we will do add in the rest of your solutions, 10 mils of each. So now we have our solutions, now we have our acid rain, and we have our rocks ready to go. Now we want to put them all in. Now you're going to put them in for 5 minutes. So I'm going to simulate that by just putting the first 3 in. So 1, 2, 3. Stopwatch has already started for 5 minutes. I will keep on going, again, demo, but I will keep on going and putting all 9 in there. Wait 5 minutes. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Bing, bing, 5 minutes is now up. How time flies. Now we're going to take these rocks out of that solution and do a post measurement. Measure it after it has been weathered. How do you do that? You get this plastic sieve and you're going to take your solution over to the sink. You're going to just pour it through into the sink, and then, seeing it's got acid on it, you're going to just wash the sieve and wash that rock for about 5 seconds in water to get all the acid off, and then you can just place it back down in number 1, because that came from number 1 test tube. Number 2 test tube, wash, 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 wash for 5 seconds. Gee, quick 5 seconds. And number 3. And the 5 to 10 second wash. Da, 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 da. Lovely. And you do that again for all 9 solutions with 9 rocks in it. Then that has now gone through a weathering process. All of your 9 rocks have been weathered, but we don't want to weigh them yet because they have a little bit of water on them. So you take another paper towel and you carefully, without moving them all around, or be careful they don't move around so you get them all mixed up, you carefully just pat them dry and keep them in their right positions so that we can remove the water. If we have water on these, we really should dry them out for a long time. overnight or just in the incubator or just a hairdryer or something, but we just don't have that time. So we just want to wait a couple of minutes and let them dry off. We don't want to add weight to them, add mass to them, but if we're not careful, the water, we will keep them wet and then we will have added water. All right, so now what we want to do is reweigh. So we take number 1 on there, and number 1 was originally that, but now it is this. Number 2 was originally that, and now it is this. Number 3 was that, and now it is that. Now sometimes they may not go down at all. If they don't go down at all, then the change is 0, but some will. All right, assume that I've reweighed all 9. I've written all that down. What you then can do is work out the difference, minusing the original number 1 mass to the second time that you did that first mass, and find out the difference. All right, that will show you which of these acids actually weathered these rocks more than the other. And you can put all that information with the changes and the differences that you are going to calculate, and maybe if you can calculate the percentage difference, if you are able to do that, add that, put that all in a table, and then figure out how you're going to graph it. Remember, graphing is a summary of what you're trying to find out. You have these 3 acids and some rocks. What is the difference between this acid, this one, and this one when they weather rocks? All right, that's your demo. Good luck.